Hello guys, we are back with the Quickstart Guide series. This is a series for new and returning players that are trying to fill out their roster with inexpensive heroes, but heroes that also could bring a lot of potential to games. Azmodan's kind of in a weird spot, and Blizzard is looking at it, so it would be an okay time to learn Azmodan since he's likely to receive a couple buffs. The build that I'm going to recommend for you guys is a little bit different than the build you guys might think of for a new Azmodan player. And I'll explain my reasoning as we go, but we'll come back to the build after I explain what his abilities do. The first ability that he has is called Globe of Annihilation. You can fire off a globe that takes a little while to travel. Now, it will land faster the closer you are to the target. So if I fire it off over here, it takes 1, 2, 3 seconds to land, but if I fire it off here, it takes less than 1 second to land. So naturally, it's going to be easier to land the closer you are to the target, but it is an ability with a significant range that you can use to pick off enemy heroes or potentially do some damage to a wave. This talent will stack. Every hero that you hit will gain 2 stacks of Annihilation. And if you kill a minion within 1.5 seconds of hitting them with Globe, you will also get 2 stacks of Annihilation. Each stack increases the damage of Globe of Annihilation by 1, so you'll gain 2 damage per hit, up to 400 damage. At 200 damage, you will activate your level 1 talent, which we'll talk about later. Your next ability is called Summon Demon Warrior. You summon a Demon Warrior that marches forward, deals 77 damage per attack and 39 DPS to all enemies around it for 10 seconds. It does take a second to wind up, and it will not prioritize heroes. It just prioritizes whatever is in front of it. So you will send this out and it will attack whatever's in front of it. If it's a hero first, it attacks the hero first. Its damage is rather low by itself, but it can be kind of nice to see if you can't get the minion wave a little lower before you fire off a Globe of Annihilation. And your last ability is called All Shall Burn. It is a channeled ability that channels for 2.5 seconds, doing a decent amount of damage over that time. If the channel is fully channeled, it will do extra damage and oftentimes have extra effects through the talents. It looks like this, and you can move very slowly while it is being channeled, and that ability is the ability that the build I'm going to recommend will run. And then finally, your last one is a longer cooldown ability called Demon Lieutenant. You summon a Demon Lieutenant at any allied minion, merc, or Azmodan minion. The Lieutenant will cast Demonic Smite every 7 seconds, instantly killing an enemy minion. It lasts 20 seconds. Demonic Smite will grab Soak in other lanes, which is kind of nice because let's say I'm not in this lane, I can summon a Demonic Lieutenant, and if he smites this minion, I got experience for it, even though I wasn't in that lane, which generally when you need to get experience, you need to get this globe. And the great part about these Demonic Lieutenants is a wave summons 7 minions, and they'll summon that every 30 seconds. So if you bring out a lieutenant, he'll smite 2 minions, actually technically 3, for every time that you summon him. So you can get 3 minions of soak in a lane that you might not be in. So it's great during an objective to send that in another lane and potentially get that level 10 power spike before the enemy team. So this is great to either add momentum to a push that you're attending or to throw it in an opposite lane of an objective to get some experience that the opposing team isn't getting. Now, let's get into his talents and talk a little bit why I recommend these talents. Level 1, I recommend Greed. Greed makes it to where your globe does 20% more damage to non-heroes, increasing the chance that you're going to kill these minion waves with your Globe of Annihilation. But the real reason why we're taking this talent is because it's going to increase the range of All Shall Burn, which is your laser, and it's going to increase your Demon Warrior's attack speed and movement speed. So your Demon Warriors are going to be attacking faster and moving faster, which is kind of the secondary part of this build. So we're going to take Greed. Level 4, Battleborn allows you to push endlessly, but we're actually going to be going Army of Hell, which is going to summon 2 Demon Warriors, but increase the cooldown of your Demon Warrior. The reason why we go this talent is it's a little bit better for stacking your Q in the early game, and it's a little bit more effective when in the first half of a team fight, and that's generally when you're going to need the most help in that first half of the team fight. Then we're going to be taking Master of Destruction and pretty much just the E talents for the rest of this game. Master of Destruction says if all shell burns channel kills or lasts its full duration, all shell burns final damage applies to all enemies in the area around the target and grants 4 annihilation per hero hit. Annihilation are the stacks that you get from this, so it allows you to stack your Q a little bit faster and get that Q quest done. It's also really great if you're trying to get minion waves rather low, because you can get them low and then throw out a Q and finish off the wave getting stacks rather fast. So it's great for either dealing damage to an enemy hero, or it's great for getting these waves low enough to where your Q will kill. And then you can get stacks much faster with that. So that's what I like about this particular talent here. Level 10, we're going to be going Demonic Invasion. Tides of Sin is great for increasing the damage of your Q, but these days it's kind of just out-healed by most teams. So we go Demonic Invasion because we want to be able to, again, overwhelm people in team fights. And in between team fights, this is an amazing talent for quickly taking out a fort. If you're left alone and just pushing alone, it's a great way to take out a fort or a keep rather quickly. Then we are going to take, not Chain of Command, we're going to be taking the Cydia's Kiss. Wait, let me double check this really quick. Yes, we're going to be taking Cydia's Kiss. And so what Cydia's Kiss does is it reduces the channel time of all shell burns, so you only have to channel for 2 seconds. And if you kill the target, or if it goes the full channel time, you'll gain 8% of your max health, which is awesome. So it gives you that sustain in these team fights as well. Level 16, there's something called Hell Rift. If all shell burn channels for its full duration or kills the target, a demon warrior is summoned at the target location, and all demon warriors get increased damage for 5 seconds. Keep in mind, they're not only going to be doing increased damage, but if you have your greed completed, or at least at the 200 stacks, it will also be doing 25% faster attack speed and movement speed. And then finally, level 20, we're going to be taking Sin's Grasp. All shell burn slows targets, so it's easier to channel. And if it channels for full duration, its cooldown is reduced by 50%, and the target is slowed by 50%. Now, level 20 talents we won't always get. So the way that you're going to be playing this build is you're going to be throwing out your W, and then you're going to be throwing out your E. At the end of your E challenge, it's going to buff up your W and summon 1 more, increasing the amount of damage that you do. And it's a pretty significant amount of damage. So you start off a fight, and it's just going to be a simple W into an E, and watch the potential damage that you can do in a very short fight. Azmodan has 5,000 health, and we've already done 6,000 damage. So if you catch a target alone, this build is incredible for quickly taking out one target. But even in the chaos of a team fight, if you combine that with the fact that you can also do Demonic Invasion and Lieutenant, you summon Demon Warriors, you can do quite a bit of damage in a team fight if you just kind of throw all of your abilities out at the same time. Start off with a W, then an ult, then you're going to be activating your trait on one of those, and then you're going to be doing your E and potentially throwing out a Q. And overall in a team fight, you do an overwhelming amount of damage that no healer can keep up with in that amount of damage from level 16. And so that is the power of this build when you're with a team. But the true power of Azmodan is actually how much siege potential he has if he's left alone. Early game, what you're going to want to be doing is throwing off a W to lower the amount of health that all of these enemies have, and then you'll throw down a Q to finish off them to get your stacks. You're going to try to get your stacks as fast as possible. And then when you start actually pushing, you have a lot of siege potential with Azmodan. Your E does a lot of damage to structures. Your W can tank the turrets for your team and also do AoE damage, which allows your minions to last a little bit longer and allows you to pretty much just endlessly push, which is really powerful. You can always summon a Demon Lieutenant to add 1 more target that will tank the turrets for your team, and keep in mind that your laser does quite a bit to single targets. So that's the real power of Azmodan, is if left alone, he has some of the best siege potential. You don't want to do this while an objective is going on, because you do want to be there for those fights. Just practice your all-shell burn while moving around and practice it at different levels in try mode, and you'll get an understanding of how much damage you can do in small bursts on Azmodan on the targets you're trying to hit, as well as follow up with your extra abilities. And this is how you'll be able to practice Azmodan. He's an interesting mage that is kind of in a weird position right now in the meta, but has a lot of potential if you play him right. The biggest downside of this build is getting your all-shell burn interrupted. It lasts for 2.5 seconds, and so much of his damage is backloaded into that last hit. So getting it interrupted can lose so much potential in a team fight. But with only a 6-second cooldown, this is an ability that can be activated quite a lot in a team fight and can really destroy any target that your team is CC'd. So keep that in mind. Throw your W out, then your E, and then go from there. And once you hit Sin's Grasp, then the cooldown of this ability is so low that you can constantly be activating this ability in between your other abilities and just absolutely be destroying teams with it. So it is a really powerful build that can get a lot of value as long as you're not interrupted, so make sure you're always moving around with that. And that is Azmodan, and that is your quick start guide for Azmodan. Focus more on macro in the early portions of the game, join your team for every team fight, and post level 16, you actually have a very incredible team fight. Thank you guys so much for watching, and feel free to check out my other videos.